The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go! They caught! This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside of Hoosie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR Ignite Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
Last year, McLaren decided that they wanted to find a way of getting the best of esports into their team. That was world's fastest gamer. This year, they decided to go a step further and put together an entire esports program. Welcome to McLaren Shadow, here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network. Round number 1 of our journey will take us to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, as we are going to be racing here today for just over 20 laps of hard-paced racing in the McLaren Formula 1 car. Will Vincent, along with Conway Maddock, will be covering all of the Grand Prix side of things. Paul Matthew Smith, well, he'll be taking over when we head ourselves to the wonderful world of GT a little bit later on. Little things are different this year. For example, we have got Grand Prix and GT cars in that hunt to determine who is going to be a part of McLaren's esports team. And well, Conway Maddock, Shadow is a fantastic concept. And well, where else to be than here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing?
Yeah, absolutely, and just as you said, world's fastest game returns for another year, but under a new name. The McLaren Shadow Project is a fantastic initiative by McLaren to try and find their next biggest and greatest esports sim racing driver. And they're not just looking for drivers fast in this Formula 1 type of machine, they're also looking for a well-rounded type of driver, the type of driver where you can put them behind the wheel of anything with 4 wheels and they can get it to the front of the grid.
And let's be honest, there are some drivers who have got that pedigree, who we've seen over the years. The likes of PJ Sturgios, many would argue is one of the most well-rounded drivers in the history of iRacing. More recently, you got the likes of Mitchell de Jong, you got the likes of Joshua Rogers, you got the likes of Mac Backham that come into play there. And you're right, Conor, it's not about what you can do in one series, it's about how well-rounded you can be. And this is what Shadow is here to demonstrate.
Exactly, and it's not just your on-track performances either. The McLaren team will be analysing every aspect of what makes a racing driver, how well you deal with the pressure, how well you do in terms of your fitness as well when you get towards those finals at McLaren's home base. So it's a tough sort of program, but whoever comes out on top is going to be the deserved champion. And
I'll tell you one thing as well, Conway, going down to Woking, England. I mean, that McLaren Performance Centre is absolutely insane. I've had a couple of friends go down there in the past, and the only thing they say when they come out of it is just wow.
Yeah, exactly. We had a couple of representatives from, the names that we're used to seeing on the iRacing side of things make their way down for the finals last year. You had the likes of Gregor Hutu make his way down, Isaac Price, you got Freak Showthorst as well, all just coming out of that experience with so much that they have learned and that they've applied since then.
Qualifying is in the books, and that means we can take a look at our starting grid for this, the first round of our championship. And, well, we have this. Harrison Finch, then, pole position 113.805, with Marcus Jensen alongside him on that front row of the grid. Michael Partington in that second row with Josh Thompson. And we cycle it on back here. Some names that we know about, Connery. Some other names, not so much.
Yeah, exactly, and especially that pole position sitter, driver Harrison Finch, that races usually in the iRacing Grand Prix Series that pretty much anyone with an iRacing A license can enter, and he's setting himself up for this competition, and of course, the iRacing Road Pro Series to get yourself into World Championship Grand Prix Series. He's definitely a driver with a lot of talent that's up and coming.
Yep, 22 drivers on our field here today. We are going to be racing for 22 laps. Live timing and scoring will be available on RaceSpotTV once the race commences. It's RaceSpot.tv/timing for that one. We are glad to have you here then. As a part of McLaren Shadow. Last year it was world's fastest game, and this year they take it up a notch, but it is going to be fantastic racing every single race of the championship. And where better to start than Montreal, Canada. Here's a look at your track temps real quick. 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 55% race relative humidity. There are some clouds in the skies, and you've got wind speeds of 2 miles an hour. The drivers are lined up in the starting grid, waiting for one. That is Daniel Bieder, before we are able to go racing here for 22 laps here today. And of course, this track has itself its famous Wall of Champions. So who knows what could happen in this one. Lights then are getting ready to go on top of the iRacing.com gantry, ready for racing for 22 laps here today. Lights on, lights out, let's go racing, McLaren Shadow style, as in towards turn number 1. Battle for the race lead immediately coming up. A lot of drivers then struggling on that start, too wide as they head themselves out of corner number 2, down for the first time towards this very difficult chicane at turns number 3 and 4. But it is now Marcus Jensen who has got himself a race lead. Michael Partington in second. Finch all the way down into 4th place from being on pole position at the start, and he's not even moving forward. He stands on P number 5 right now, Connery.
Yeah, exactly. An absolutely horrible start for the positive sim racing driver, dropping all the way back through the field. Position number 8, position number 9. He's hemorrhaging time and positions on this first lap. So that's a nightmare start for Finch. But as a result, it has allowed the driver of Marcus Jensen to get himself ahead up in towards the turn number 10 hairpin now, followed by Michael Partington, followed by Josh Thompson, Moritz Lohner, Matthew Calistani. So those are the names that we're more used to seeing in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, getting themselves to the front of the field.
Yeah, Michael Partington right now is 6 tenths of a second behind Marcus Jensen. More importantly, though, you note the fact that Partington is 2.4 seconds ahead of Josh Thompson. So that incident, that issue there for your pole position driver of Finch basically made this a 2-car race right at the very beginning. Your mid-pack, it is electric right now. It's in towards turn number 1. They come once again, going to go on board with the driver of Josh Ladd right now from Club UK and Ireland. Exit turn number 2, down towards this turn number 3 and 4. This is where we saw Olivier Panis have a horrific crash back in 1997. Timing and scoring is now available. Just have a look on your screen for info about that one. Ladd can't work it on the outside as he tries to now go down to the inside into turn number 7. Cannot do so, has to put back into line. Meanwhile, Montreal, this is an interesting one. We've got ourselves a Williams esports car here, Connery, running in a McLaren Shadow. As we also got a car turned around, and that is the number 20 car.
Yeah, and number 17 is also very slow as well. That's the car of Ryan Parkins, and those two, the number 20 and the number 17, did come together down into one of the chicanes here. Oh, that Ryan Parkins got a huge amount of oversteer, entry oversteer into the corner, had nowhere to go except into the back of Sergio Fletcher there. So those two guys are going to drop to the back of the field.
Yeah, here's a replay of this one. Oh my word, down into the second chicane. Almost like Booker T, a spinneroonie there. Fletcher all the way down into 20th position of 22 drivers. And one of the issues here, Conway, because it's such a short race, you don't have time to recover from mistakes here. No pit stops and nothing. You make a mistake, it is almost going to be race over for you.
Yeah, 22 laps, and that is it. It's not enough time for these tyres to degrade to a point where you have to make a pit stop. They'll be taking the Stella rubber all the way to the end on the low fuel load as well. So these guys basically running qualifying laps throughout the entirety of this event.
Yeah, there are more than one of these events that takes place in terms of qualifications. We'll talk about that one as the season goes on. But here's a look at Luis Felipe Tavares in the number 15 car, down towards the hairpin. Right behind him, he's got himself Harrison Finch. Finch down to the inside, gets himself the jump up. Well, after starting a pole position and falling back down to P number 8, one position is gained. But now he needs to have a look at Eric Andre, because he's putting the pressure on the number 15 cars. They come down towards that third and final chicane. The right, the curb, the bump. Don't hit the wall, and Eric Andre gets a fantastic run on that corner. The only issue is, though, the 15 machine ahead has got DRS open. Here comes an Eric Andre, down to the inside, the two make contact.
Yeah, that was an overzealous move there from the race clutch driver of an Eric Andre. Saw the gap opening up, decided to lick the snap and send it, as we always say, and it just didn't turn out the way he wanted. Didn't get the car slowed down at all, and he's tagged around into the runoff.
Yeah, there's a look then from our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design in towards turn number 1. And Eric Andre, he tried to slide it down to the inside, just could not stop that car on time, however. Meanwhile, back out front, you got yourself battle for beat number 5 right now. Matteo Constantini in the number 5 machine. David Williams in the number 2 car running in 6th place. Now, the issue is that your top 5 have fallen well back now on your top 4 drivers. So you've got to start asking the question, at what point do they start battling themselves, or will they, Connery, try and work together to try and work themselves back for the field a little bit?
Yeah, the front couple of cars are starting to run away a little bit, as we'll get the updated lap times as they head their way across the line this time. A 1:15.4 from your race leader of Marcus Jensen, and 1:15.6 from Partington, 7th place rider. Josh Thompson and Morris Lohner, though, they are still running on pace with the leaders. So P number 3 and 4, they still potentially have a chance here at taking this race win. But the thing is, there's not a lot of time to work with. This is a sprint race.
Yeah, Marcus Jensen has the lead by 1.9 seconds over Michael Partington right now, and we're going to have a look at the lap time between P number 1 and P number 2, and Partington has lost time in each of the last 3 laps of this motor race. Josh Thompson runs in 3rd place, 4th place Moritz Lohner, 5th place is Costantini, 6th is David Williams, Finch in 7th, then Tavares in 8th, Ladd in 9th, and Montanez rounds out your top 10. What I do want to do, however, now we have ourselves the opportunity, is to go back and have a look at the start of this one, because, well, Connor, if your name is, and I'm trying to get ourselves a replay, this is not what we're looking for. We just have to replay that tape a little bit further. But if your name was Harrison Finch, let's have a look on board of him here. Start of the race, pole position, just a lot of wheel spin at the start. He just doesn't get going there.
Yeah, that's certainly one word for it. Driver that did get a fantastic start, though, was Michael Partington from the second row. The grid position number 3 decides to thread the needle down the inside of your 2 front row starters and almost got himself the race lead down into the first couple of turns, but Marcus Jensen managed to squeak his way ahead. But yeah, it was absolutely just the worst start imaginable for Finch there.
Yeah, had Partington not have been on 3rd position, he would have had the lead of this motor race. He just actually had to check up at the start of that one. But Partington right now is 2 seconds behind Marcus Jensen. That is the gap on screen, as again Partington continues to lose time lap on lap here at Montreal. We have got ourselves 1 driver out of this event. That is Xavier Sanchez. We've also had ourselves 1 driver 1 lap down. That is Daniel Bieder in the number 13 machine. So not the best of days, I would say, if you're a couple of teams out on track. Positive Sim Racing not having the best of days right now, but a little bit further up in your field, you got an Eric Andre.
Contact Calistani, number 5, into the final chicane, gets tagged around by David Williams. So late on the brakes was David Williams, just misjudged the closing speed, tags the PSR driver around, and Calistani will get himself back going with very little damage, but that is absolutely huge for positions, just, well, fighting for your top 5.
Yeah, and it was weird because it was coming into the corner as well. The first time I saw it is that, okay, Calistani hasn't hit the wall of champions, but he got hit on the run into it. Here's another look then. Calistani at the top of your picture. Here is David Williams heading himself down in towards that final chicane. Well, Williams just runs right into the rear of Calistani, and this is not the first time we've seen David Williams have incidents in a Grand Prix car over the last 6 months here. He's had it happen more times than people would, well, basically not remember, as Moritz Lohner right now, having a look on board of him. Josh Thompson in the 3rd position, but David Williams does remain in P number 8. I believe he's fallen back and allowed Calistani back past.
He actually got a slowdown penalty by skipping over the final chicane. So that's the automated iRacing system going, hey, you've cut the course, you gotta give up a couple of seconds of time to get yourself back relatively where you were. And that has done its job right now, putting him back behind the Calistani. So that is basically the equivalent of a race steward saying, hey, just give the position back, and he has done.
You know what? I almost had a song in my head there. Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. You skip the track. Give some time back, baby. As just having a look. Yeah, you know what? It started off in my head. I had to say it. Get it out there just once. Down in your field. Let's have a look. Outside your top 10. The reason why we want to show you all the drivers in this field, it is a small field here, Connor. Only 22 drivers. But Carl Galanton right now versus David Bocelli. New Jersey. 2 New Jersey drivers. As Carl's turn around.
He is, and he can't get that car turned around very quickly at all, since the traffic still has to come through on him. But yeah, and Eric Andre was in fact alongside by a significant margin. You just all got a little bit tight on the exit of that first apex, just tags Carl Germanton around. Yeah, very pretty car, we have to say, actually, for that number 14 machine. Very, very pink is one thing I would say. I don't mind that at all. But out will come again in the AFF NTY car. Meanwhile, back up for your field, Moritz Lohner. Let's go back to him. We've made the joke once. We might as well talk about it one more time. A Williams Esports car, currently in 4th place in what is a McLaren sanctioned series right now. Conway, lap number 9 of 22 here. But Moritz Lohner, let's give him credit right now. He's only 7 tenths of a second behind Josh Thompson. And I will also say another thing. Radicals Online, they put a lot of effort into this type of competition. We've seen it over the years. When something like this comes up, Radicals are always the first team to really say and make a statement, we're doing this. Yeah, they really are. They're always the type of racing team that just wants to go for every single opportunity that that they feel is significant, and this is definitely a significant opportunity for every single driver out here. If they qualify, then that can lead on to many, many big things indeed. But Moritz Lohner right now, his lap times are looking kind of all right, although he is losing time to Josh Thompson right now, and he actually still has the DRS, so he still has that sort of thread of hope to hang on to. He gets the speed benefit all the way down these very, very long straights here at Montreal to try and make up that time deficit.
And Eric Andre trying to pass drivers again. This right now is himself working plus David Porcelli, the number 18 machine, down to the inside, in towards the hairpin. Managed to make that one stick, and Eric Andre up a position. What's going on here? That is Porcelli, yeah.
Yeah, it went off and actually hit the wall of champions, and some say that is a good omen, but it's not a good omen for this race specifically, as he just got loose after that pass was complete, got himself up onto the curb and just nosed it into the tyre barrier.
Yeah, there we are. Well, again, technically, he didn't hit the wall of champions.
He did. He tapped it a little.
Yes, it's one of those things, you know, how much luck are you going to get? Did you actually hit the wall of champions? Let's have a look at your top 8 as it stands right now. Just let you catch up here. Lap number 10 of 22, Marcus Jensen leading 2.1 seconds over Michael Partington. Josh Thompson in 3rd, Moritz Lohner in 4th. Harrison Finch worked himself back up then from P8 to P5 after losing the lead at the start of this motor race. Luis Felipe Tavares in 6th place. Matteo Constantini in 7th position. David Williams is in 8th place with Josh Ladd and Jorge Montañez, then running out your top 10 on this McLaren Shadow on RaceSpotTV and on the iRacing Esports Network. Haven't talked much about him, but Marcus Jensen continuing to pull away now. And what we have seen over the years is when competitions like this come up, there's always one team that make it their own. TTL Esports, you know what I mean? Marcus Jensen, number 1 machine, doing a fantastic job in that Burst Esports car. That is what I meant to say there. Marcus Jensen down into the 2nd chicane, that number 1 machine, is now, I think, in just kind of that mode where you hold your position. You don't push too much, but also you don't allow Partington behind to catch you.
Last time by, though, Partington did catch up about a couple of tenths of a second, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that one to see if that is an overall theme or it was just a mistake on that past lap for Marcus Jensen. But coming down the back straight now, down towards that very, very tricky final chicane. It's so fast with such a heavy braking zone as well. Careful not to go over those relatively vicious curbs on the inside of the on the insides of the corners there. And he comes across the line to set a 1:16 flat. Michael Partington, another 1:16 flat. So these guys at the front, nothing to separate them right now. Marcus Jensen was initially pulling the gap, but Partington's found another gear.
In that dirty air just kicking in right now for Matteo Casantini, and this is versus that number 15 machine of Luis Felipe Tavares. Now, last time by, it was very close to Sector 1 and Sector 2, Connery, but Constantini lost a little bit in the final sector where you need to be fast here. He's not, and now David Williams and Josh Ladd alongside, and here comes David Williams down to the outside of that hairpin. Can he make it stick? They're going to stay side by side all the way on the exit of the corner, and Williams has got the job done.
Yeah, and Calistani will actually tuck in behind the slipstream as well. DRS in effect for both of these cars. They'll reel in Tavares by a rate of knots coming down into the final chicane, but not close enough to make a dive of it down the inside there, skipping their way through the final chicane. Those DRS flats will open up again down towards turn number 1. You can just see how aggressive David Williams is being as Tavares is going to go off ahead. This gives the opportunity to David Williams down the inside of turn number 2. They'll make it side by side on the run down towards 3, and David Williams gets the position as Calistani outbrakes himself, almost runs into the back of Tavares there, and whoa, that could have been a huge instant coming down into 3 if that had gone any other way.
Yeah, Calistani couldn't do anything, as here's Josh Ladd right behind as well in that racecraft car. He gets a better run, but that's the whole thing at turn number 7, Connery, is that if you actually run the inside in turn number 7, you end up getting snap oversteer, and then it hurts you down into the second chicane.
Yeah, exactly. This track can be about how much momentum that you just carry through those chicanes, and that's very, very tough as well, especially on exit when you have those walls so close to the racing circuit. It's more like a street circuit in that respect. You step a foot out of line, you're going to hit either an Armco barrier or a concrete wall on the outside of these corners. So it requires 100% focus from every single driver out here to get themselves those fast lap times to be able to compete.
Well, okay, let's have a look at your movers and shakers in this event so far. Harrison Finch down 4 places. So in reality, Marcus Jensen, Michael Partington, Josh Thompson, Moritz Lohner, they are where they started +1. And then you got yourself, Felipe Tavares, he's up 3 places here today. Calistani is down 2, Josh Ladd is down 2, and Eric Andre is down 1. And Eric Andre seems to have been in almost every battle we've seen here today. Jeff Gassi and David Bocelli, they are up 3 positions each in this event here today. So there have been some movers and shakers, but what we have noticed is that there hasn't been drivers really charging as much as you'd see in a World Championship Grand Prix event. That is partially because of the fact this is only a 22-lap race here. So you make your passes early, and then you just got to pick them off one at a time. As I want to go back to Moritz Lohner, however, and Moritz versus Josh Thompson. The gap between the two of them, 4 tenths of a second in towards that final chicane, and Moritz has gone way off.
Yeah, he'll get a rather severe slowdown penalty as a result of that one. Just misjudged the brakes coming down into that very heavy braking zone, and if you make one mistake down in that particular zone, then you're going to have to take a short trip across the chicane. You basically have no choice. And Lohner, he's on his roof now. What has happened to him? The driver of the number 3 on his roof down towards turn number 1. Oh, he got run into from behind Sergio Fletcher. So when he was trying to take his slowdown penalty, Fletcher was completely unaware of that one, tried to change his line, just flips Lohner, goes barrel rolling down into turn number 1.
Here's another replay. All from bad to worse for the Williams Esports car. And well, it's one of these things, you are going so fast, and to say for Moritz Lohner, he wasn't offline. He wasn't necessarily online either. There is just only one line to turn number 1.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Fletcher really expected the car to be so slow, but he did have quite a bit of time to react, so that could go either way. But Lohner, he kept himself towards driver's right-hand side of the circuit, and then went more towards the middle, just as Sergio Fletcher was approaching. So Fletcher definitely not expecting it, and that has just resulted in the unfortunate, huge incident that you've just seen.
Josh Ladd, number 6 machine, were on board of him in the number 6 car, as we talked about, the race clutch car coming in towards that Waller Champions final chicane. You can get social with us, /RaceSpotTV, at RaceSpotTV on the Twitter machine. Thank you very much to everyone that helped us get past 10,000 subscribers on RaceSpotTV just 24 hours ago. Ladd, the thing is for Ladd, he's not doing a bad job at all. However, he just hasn't got a car that I think is able to overtake here.
This definitely doesn't seem to be the case. Well, it doesn't seem to be the case in that he can overtake here, but he hasn't really had the best of opportunities right now to try and get himself by the 2 cars ahead of the 2 cars ahead just get so squirrely off of the turn number 6, turn number 7 chicane in towards turn number 8 now. We'll see if they get a little bit of oversteer once again off of this particular corner. But that's a very good run for Josh Ladd on the run down towards turn number 10. A little bit more of a boost used by Calistani there. They do have an overtake button that they can use as Ladd tries the outside, tries to cut back off the corner to get the exit speed coming down the back straight though. And Calistani, he's all over the place. The car just doesn't seem balanced at all. Ladd will have DRS, yes, so will Calistani on the run down towards the final chicane.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that even though these drivers will not be making a pit stop here today, Conway, they are going to be using that tyre quite a bit. So at the end of this one, if you abuse it too much early on in the event, you will pay the consequences later down the line. And I think that's what's going to happen, this P6, P7, P8 battle. We've also got an Eric Andre. He's now got himself past Jorge Montanez. He is now up into 9th place, back into the top 10 for him.
Yeah, pretty textbook, simple DRS-assisted move down the inside at turn number 1. Gets the position for an Eric Andre, and he's got himself back into a pretty good position here, inside the top 10, position number 9, after his earlier instant down in towards turn number 1, shall we say, when he sent one down the inside of a particular driver, and that didn't really end well. But the thing is, he doesn't have much damage to that car, so he's able to keep up the race pace.
Yeah, talking about retirees, we've had now Xavier Sanchez out, Robert Plumley out, Daniel Bieder is out, and Moritz Lohner is out of the event as it stands right now, and Sergio Fletcher is scored 1 lap down, as is Borja Bueno. Didn't really get the chance to talk about Robert Plumley at all in this one. Of course, he runs in Monday Night Skippies here, Connor, which you commentated with Rachel Maddock? Rachel Whitefoot for a couple of years. In fact, they hit their 4-year anniversary on RaceSpotTV tomorrow night. But Plumley's one of those drivers. We've seen how racing every single week really does help you improve as a driver.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen him much in these Formula 1 machines, though, these McLaren MP4-30s. And it doesn't seem like he's had the best of races either. He's 11 laps down and he's still on the lane as well. So it doesn't look like he's going to come out in anytime soon. So it was just a horrible start for him. So hopefully he can pick it back up in the remaining races that we have here of this series. Just because you have a bad result in one race doesn't mean your entire championship run is completely over.
Yeah, as we just have a look through at the top of your field, Marcus Jensen, last time by 1:16.297. Get this one. He was 3 tenths of a second faster that last time by over Michael Partington. Josh Thompson, 3rd place, 1:16.624. He was a 10th slower than Marcus Jensen. Worth noting that even though Thompson is going faster in 2nd place right now, the fact we've got less than 5 laps to go in this event here, Connery, really does mean that we're not likely to see Thompson move past his teammate unless Partington makes a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. That gap seems a little bit too big right now to be able to have any sort of opportunity, especially when we only have about 4 laps to go. So he's just going to have to just sit there and just nurse the car till the end now for P number 2 and, of course, P number 3 as well. I think Partington doesn't really have the pace to get up to the back of Marcus Jensen at this moment in time, but the battle still could potentially be on right now for what is going to be P number 6 on the racing circuit. Luis Tavares, you got Matthew Calistani and Josh Ladd. These 3 cars still stuck together like glue and still getting very squirrely off the corners, but no one around just yet.
Yeah, and Calistani 3 tenths of a second behind Tavares. Josh Ladd is a further 3 tenths of a second back. So the issue is for Calistani right now is he can't go into full attack mode because Ladd, if he finds a weakness in that armour, will try and work himself up into P number 7. And of course, both Ladd and Calistani will have DRS enabled here, whereas Tavares will not. We're on board with Ladd once again. He is nowhere near close enough. Maybe you think he's trying to hold a little bit back as here comes Calistani, outside line, manages to make it stick then into that final chicane, but then he gets loose, then he gets squirty, and then it backs all 3 of them back up together.
And here comes Josh Ladd around the outside of turn number 1, which will become the inside for 2, but Tavares has overcooked it down into the 1st sector. Josh Ladd has to take avoiding action, so has Calistani. Had his own issues as well off of turn number 2. Tavares now looking for the move into 3, but it's not really a place where you can make a move down the inside. So these 3 are still going to be together, but Calistani now at the front of the train.
Yeah, here's a look at the replay. Here's Calistani looking himself to the outside, in towards the wall of the champion chicane. The issue is he overshoots, runs onto that second part of the curb. I mean, you've got to give credit to Tavares there for not running into the rear of Matteo Calistani in towards turn number 1. Then Josh Ladd tries to go around the outside in towards 1. Can't do so. Then Ladd runs wide into 2. Calistani runs wide into 2. It all kicks off, but Calistani's the one that ends up the winner.
Yeah, he does, and it looks to pull away. I don't think he's out of the DRS range of Tavares, so Tavares will actually get that rear wing flap open, so will Josh Ladd coming down towards the final chicane. Careful to avoid that wall of champions. And we're actually on to 2 laps to go.
Yep, 2 laps around this Montreal racetrack to go. Just to let you know, by the way, the remaining rounds of the Grand Prix part on McLaren Shadow will be Nürburgring. That will be in, well, let's say a week's time. Then we've got ourselves Monza, Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, and Interlagos. We'll talk about the challenges of these after this broadcast has ended. Note that Marcus Jensen Tavares had an incident.
No, lads, down the inside of Tavares. Tavares will try to fight it back off of turn number 7. Just doesn't have the traction to be able to do so. That was how you send a move down the inside. Lesson from Josh Ladd there. So, and Eric Andre, take note.
Yeah, here's a look behind the trees, down into 6, manages. The thing is, what you have got there is a little bit of tarmac runoff that if you do completely overcook it, Connery, you have yourself a second option to just basically get back on track and not be stuck in the gravel. But fantastic move there by Josh Ladd. Here we are, replay again into that turn number 6. He does push wide, but he secures the move there up into position as Tavares loses the position as well to an Eric Andre. We are on to the white flag lap as well.
Yeah, Andre not quite gaining the position there. Will just have to try for a last-ditch effort to get himself into P number 8 on this final lap. No opportunity into 1, no opportunity either into 2, but out of 2 might be a different issue with how that Tavares car has been behaving off of the corners. But the thing is, into 3 still the status quo. Looking at your race leader, Marcus Jensen, he's heading straight to turn number 10. So 2 straights for him, and he'll be the winner.
Yeah, so an Eric Andre then putting that battle over Tavares. Tavares holds on through 6 and 7. They doesn't this time, actually. He gets pushed wide on the exit of turn number 7. They're going to stay side by side on that running towards the second chicane. And Eric Andre inside line. Will he make the move? Yes, he will. And Eric Andre moves up as a position. But Marcus Jensen will win round number 1 of McLaren Shadow. And the Scandinavian driver drove a flawless race in that Burst Esports car. Marcus Jensen wins. Michael Partington second. Josh Thompson rounds out your top 3. So a Burst Esports driver and then 2 Radicals Online machines. I do though want to go back and have another look at that one.
It's still going on, Will.
It's still going on. Yeah, you're right.
Oh! They tag in the final chicane, and that is going to be both drivers having major issues through the final couple of corners. They went briefly side by side down onto the bricks. Hopeful move down the inside from an Eric Andre. Gets himself a front wing alongside, tags Alvarez around. Alvarez instantly out of the session, and Eric Andre will bring his wounded car across the line for 10th place. But wow, that scrap just didn't end, even though we thought it did.
Yeah, so let's have ourselves another look at this one then, in towards that final chicane on Eric Andre. Number 4 car, down to the inside. Oh, messy is the word I'm going to say there. Messy, Connery.
And it wasn't the first messy move that Andre has made during this race. I think it's going to be one to forget for him. Even with a top 10 finish, getting it like that is not what the driver wants to be doing. And Tavares will be quite rightfully annoyed by that one.
Yeah, here's a look at the first of the 2 incidents between them as they work themselves down towards turn number 6 and 7. A look at our aerial coverage brought to you by And1 Design in towards 6. And the thing is, Tavares there just gets a little bit loose, and that's what forces on Eric Andre to run right into the rear of him as they then go underneath the GoDaddy bridge in towards that second chicane. And Eric Andre does sweep himself ahead, but loses a little bit of time on the exit of the corner, and that's what allowed Tavares to get back past in towards the hairpin. Outside line being worked there. The 2 remain side by side, and they actually make contact for the second time. These drivers made contact 4 times in a lap.
Yep, they did, and I think actually as a result of those many bits of car contacts, remember that gives you 4 incident points, and the incident limit here is 17. I think Tavares, as a result of that last incident, actually got disqualified from the event. Yeah, he's finishing 1 lap down. Yeah, indeed. So what a race we have had. Let's have a look at your final race results from round number 1 on McLaren Shadow here at Montreal. So, when all was said and done, Marcus Jensen wins by
by 1.5 seconds over Michael Partington. Josh Thompson in 3rd place. Harrison Finch in 4th. And David Williams rounds out your top 5. Maciej Constantini rounds in 6th place. Josh Ladd in 7th. Jorge Montana's in 8th. Stefan Schmidt there in 9th place. Didn't talk about him at all, but he comes home in 9th. And Eric Andre rounds out your top 10. Here are the remainder of your results up on your screen right now. Well, Connery, they're short races, but they are fun races to watch on that road to potentially a roll with McLaren.
Yeah, exactly. It was a pretty scrappy race out there as well. It was more like touring car racing rather than open wheel formula racing there, but it did provide some great action out there with all the passes that were happening. A little bit too much contact for my liking, but sometimes that does just happen, especially at a tight street circuit like Montreal.
We will take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen, on RaceSpotTV and on the iRacing Esports Network. We'll have post-race coverage in 1 moment time.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go! They touch!
This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside of Hoosie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR Ignite Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
Round number 1 of McLaren Shadow qualifications. Grand Prix side is in the books. Here's a look at your top 10 one more time. That's up on your screen right now. Worth noting, it's a lot of Europeans right now, Connery. 4 Club UK and Ireland drivers inside your top 5.
Yep, fantastic representation for the British guys there, trying to get themselves as part of a British team as well, so it kind of makes sense in that respect. But yeah, fantastic effort from pretty much everyone out there today, and we do have a couple of drivers in the commentary booth to talk to about their experience out there.
Yeah, we got ourselves Josh Thompson and Michael Parsington. Going to talk to Michael Parsington first. Well, Michael, 2nd place is all you got, but you could have had the race lead out of corner number 2. Talk about that race start.
Yeah, it was quite good. I knew that I had a really good start, right between the 2 guys. But at Montreal, if you're on the outside at turn 2, you're never going to win the position. So I just stuck it, kept in, and stayed behind.
You ended up losing a lot of time early on to Marcus Jensen. The gap was 2 and a bit seconds after a handful of laps. You did close it down a little bit, but did you ever think that you could have closed him down enough to get into DRS range?
Yeah, that was the idea. At the start I thought he's probably going to get away, go fast, and I'll save my tyres a little bit. There was more understeer than I expected. I think there were more people in the race from the previous ones. So I mean, I had a bit of a trouble, and I lost a bit of time on some of the corners. You know, once it was like 2.5, I thought, yeah, but I got it back, but at the end, a few more mistakes, and I couldn't close the gap. He was so quick.
Next time out, Nürburgring, 20 laps in 1 week's time. Can you get yourself your first victory of the season?
I'll try.
Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to from that Radicals Online organisation?
Oh, everyone at Radicals has been awesome this year, and Josh has been great this week. He's been tested with me, and all the sponsors.
Well, thank you. We'll find them at some point. Go to Radicals Online, search them on Google. But thank you very much, Mike Partington. Josh Thompson stood by Connery Maddock.
Yep, I have Josh Thompson here, also of the same team as well, Radicals Online, and it also was a frantic start for you as well, Josh. Just take us through it. You lost positions on the start, and then you ended up getting two of them before the end of the lap.
Yes, really shocked, to be honest. I knew I messed up the start. I've not really had particularly good starts all week. I've always struggled with that with this car. Just need to dial in a bit more practice, I think, in that area. But no, the initial start wasn't too bad. I knew I would have to drop in behind because I didn't want to really risk it all on turn 1, especially knowing the pace we had in the car after testing all week. And just backed off a little bit, saw Moritz and Harrison go into the first chicane, and straight away I could tell they weren't going to give enough room into the chicane. So backed off, lucky enough, managed to work my way between them.
Well, working your way between them is certainly one way of putting it. There was a little bit of a tap that you gave Harrison Finch coming through turn number 4, but didn't really result in any damage for you, did it?
Didn't even realise I touched him. Didn't get a 0x or anything. So I knew he was slow, and I didn't know what happened. So I tried to go over to the right. I slowed down as much as I could, but I didn't want to slow down too much and get hit and cause a pile up behind. But if I touched him, then fair enough, I didn't mean to.
So what was the overall race strategy from that point forward? Because, of course, you can't really do much with the strategy because you have no pit stops in this entire event. So what was the plan going forward from that race start?
Just keeping the tyres in check. That is such a key factor of this. With it only being a short race, only 20 laps, you can still burn the tyres out really easily. As Mike was saying, you have to nerf the tyre in the early stages to have that life at the end. So, especially when I had Moritz behind me, my main focus once I got into third was to hold third. And looking up once Moritz made a mistake, I knew I had him covered a bit, but once he made that mistake, he made life a bit easier, and it was all about just bringing it home, being as consistent as possible, really.
And of course, as you well know, in this series, you don't only have to drive the McLaren MP4-30. You've got the MP4-12C as well, the McLaren GT3 machine. How confident are you with that?
Very. I think that's the side where I can make amends. I know that Mike and a few others who are pro F1 for more focus on the F1 side, which I 100% respect. That's one benefit for me, jumping in and out between the single seat and the GT. So looking up, I'm starting testing that already.
So early preparations going on for Josh Thompson there. Is there? Well, before we let you go, Josh, is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, so straight away, Mike did an awesome job this week helping me test, gave me someone to work with, perfect. Everyone at Radicals, so Armour Centrum, JRT, Cranfield Simulation, Asta Simrace.
Yeah, and we'll bring things back to you, Will. Thank you very much, Josh. And, well, Josh is just such a well-rounded driver, fast in these open-wheel cars, fast in the GT cars as well, which is pretty much all you need for a series such as this.
Yep, and round 1 is in the books. Connery, what we've learned here today is that you have to push hard, but not too hard, because those tyres can still fall away from you.
Yeah, exactly. It's, because it's sort of on the long side of what is like a first stint in normal Grand Prix race, even though you do have the lighter fuel loads, so that'll be kinder to the tyres in that way. You do have to conserve a little bit to get yourself to the end of the race or to have any pace at the end of the race for those late race challenges.
And next time out, we're going to head ourselves over to the Nürburgring. Well, Sector 1 of the Nürburgring is all about slow speed, low speed grip. Sector 2 is more about mechanical grip. And Sector 3, well, it's all about all the above, really, Connery. So, I think drivers that did well here today, a lot of them survived. Next time out, they really got to show their stripes.
Yep, exactly, and the Nürburgring GP circuit as well. Some corners do have a large amount of runoff that you can use if you get yourself into a spot of bother, but there are some parts in this, on that racetrack, especially around where the forward curve is, that you just can't really step a foot out of line, otherwise you go into the gravel and into the grass as well. So it's going to be a tough one, especially that first turn as well. That very, very tight right-hand, that right-hand hairpin, that can catch a lot of people out as well on the start, so I can't wait for it.
Well, yeah, before we go, a thank you to the following people who always help us get what we do done. First of all, to Isman Balal, TrackCams22.com, Andreas Warner, and And1 Design for our overlay. Development by Simon Grossman, Apptioneering.com. All the stuff under the hood. And Nick Thisson, of course, for RaceSpotTV, live timing and scoring. Well, Burst Esports and Marcus Jensen win out this time around, but there's still a long way to go in McLaren Shadow. Goodbye from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We'll see you in the Nürburgring in a week's time. Good night.